that the Prophet ﷺ made dua for different regions, Sham, Yemen, but he refused to make dua for Najd. And they said, why? And he said, this is where the horns of shaitan will come, and this is where the fitna will arise from. So unfortunately, those who level the attack at Abdul Wahhab use these hadith, and they say that, look, this man is a shaitan, and the Prophet ﷺ told us that he will come with this fitna. But then how can we refute this? I mean, it's obviously irrational to believe that the man who is calling to Kitab and Sunnah is a shaitan, or he's creating some kind of fitna. What we can say, there are several ways that we can refute this claim. The first one is Al-Khattabi mentions, and this has been mentioned by Ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari as well, that Najd linguistically means a high place. Najd linguistically means high place. So any area can have its own Najd. Even Hijaz can have its own Najd. Sham can have its own Najd. So Najd here is referring to somewhere which has a high place, an elevated place above, the other regions. But the explanation, now the thing is, now when we're making a claim, or we're looking at a hadith, or we're looking at ayah, it's very important that we take the understanding from the ulama, obviously. So now if they are saying that this hadith or these narrations are talking about Abdul Wahhab, we will clearly say to them quite openly and honestly, where is the proof for your statement? I mean, where is your understanding coming from? Because now we will see that there are many kibar from Ahl Sunnah as well as Ahl Hadith and the Fuqaha have all agreed that this doesn't refer to Abdul Wahhab. As in, they didn't explicitly say it, but they didn't need to. And we will see why. For example, Imam al-Nawawi said that these hadith refer to the fitna of Dajjal. And there's another narration the Prophet ﷺ is recorded by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, that the Prophet ﷺ said that Dajjal will arise from Asfahan. And that's in the east. And this is Iran today. And he said he will be supported by an army of the Yahud, and he will arise from amongst the Khawarij. If you look at the demographics that we're living in today, this is particularly interesting. He will come from Asfahan, which is an area that's still called Asfahan today in Iran, and he will be supported by the Yahud, and he will rise amongst the Khawarij. Where are the Khawarij? Where are Daesh today? Within this region, undoubtedly. I mean, I don't want to get into politics, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but this is what Nawawi said about the hadith, that it refers to Ad-Dajjal. Ibn Hajar said that the explanation of these hadith is referring to direction. Because if you put all the hadith together, the Quran of Shaitan will come from the east, and all these different narrations put it together, then Ibn Hajar is saying that it's the direction that he's talking about. He didn't specify a place. One of the A'immah of the Salaf, Abu Hatim al-Razi, said it refers to Musaylima. Where did Musaylima come from? This area in Najd, Thumama. And his fitna was there, and he was a kadhib, and he was a dajjal, and he was a shaitan. And this is particularly interesting. Now, Alusi, the famous Mufassir, said that it refers to the fitna that happened with Ali. Now, why is this interesting? Because for me, it's inconceivable to say that this hadith or these hadith refer to Abdul Wahhab. Why? Or Sheikh Muhammad. Because we have the death of the Prophet, or the Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is the first year of Hijrah, until the coming of Abdul Wahhab is 1100 years. So we're saying in that gap, there's been no fitna in that region, and there's no, calls to da'wah towards shaitan or something which is not Orthodox Islam, and that we had a 1100-year gap, and now these hadith refer to Abdul Wahhab, when we had Musaylima, when we had the fitna of Ali, when we had the fitna of Hussein, all in this region. So how is it conceivable to say that this is now particularly talking about Sheikh Muhammad? It doesn't make sense. So this is what Alusi is saying. He didn't refer to Abdul Wahhab, obviously, but he said that it refers to the fitna that happened in Iraq, and the fitna that happened to Ali and Hussein, and the Karbala issue and all of that thing that happened afterwards. So now the point here is, which of the ulama have said it refers to Abdul Wahhab? Like I said, there's an 1100 gap. Pick one scholar, even until today, from somebody who is respected on an international scale, not somebody who is within the Sufi community. Where's your evidence for this? And even if he makes that claim, where is his evidence? Because we all know that the statement of everybody is accepted or rejected, except for the statement of the Prophet ﷺ. So even if they do find someone, we have to look at it holistically. But there are others from the scholars, now this is even more interesting, that they said that it refers to Dajjal because the horns of the rising of the shaitan, or refers to shaitan because the horns of the rising, the Prophet ﷺ said that the horns of shaitan will rise from the east. So they said this is haqiqi, this is literal, this is factual. How can we change the interpretation of the Prophet or the wording of the Prophet ﷺ to have a metaphorical meaning? So they said that the Prophet ﷺ said that the horns rise from the east. Khalas, is referring to shaitan. It's not referring to anybody else. So this is again, something which is interesting, because if you look at it linguistically, if you look at it for what it stands for, then it can only refer to shaitan or Dajjal or anything which has come within the narrations, without any kind of ta'weel, without any kind of far-fetched interpretation. Also, in order to look at this hadith or look at this claim of theirs, we have to also realize that Abdul Wahhab was from Banu Tamim, and it's been narrated in Bukhari that the Prophet ﷺ said that Banu Tamim will be the harshest against Ad-Dajjal. So how can he be from the Dajjal? How can he be a shaitan when he has been explicitly said that this tribe are going to be from the harshest of the Dajjal? Clearly, obviously, we can't contradict ourselves and say that this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is referring to Abdul Wahhab, because we can't say that. We don't know that for certain. And we will see that there's another principle when it comes to this in a short while. But we can see that the signs are quite clear. Banu Tamim, he's calling to Kitab, he's calling to Sunnah, he's not calling to Shirk, he's not calling to Fitna, he's calling to respect, he's calling to unity. I mean, it's far-fetched for you to now to claim that these hadith refer to Sheikh Muhammad. And this leads on to the next point, that the scholars like Imam Nawawi in his Sharaf Muslim has clearly said that when it comes to the alamat as-sa'ah or the ashrat as-sa'ah, then we cannot specify a time or a place. So if the Prophet ﷺ said that the Bedouins will start building tall buildings, and then it's the time of judgment, or the slave woman will give birth to her master, or the Prophet ﷺ said there will be a lot of killing, and this is a sign of their judgment. How do we know which generation this falls into? Killing has happened. If you go back 800 years, Baghdad was described as flowing in blood. So what, did they turn around and say that this is the Ashrat, this is what the Prophet ﷺ? Nobody can say specifically that this is what's happening. And the scholars have said that this is khabariyah, not that there's a ruling that is connected to it. So some of the scholars even said that it's permissible for you to build tall buildings. That's not the intent by the Prophet ﷺ. He's just saying that this is what's going to happen. So my point here is for us to specify something that is going to happen towards the end of time and specify it to Abdul Wahhab, then nobody can say that for certain. This is the point that we're making here. Also, there's a narration where Salman al-Farsi was called to leave Iraq and go to live in Sham at that time by Abu Darda. And Salman said that it's not the place that you live in, as in if you come here you'll be Mubarak. Salman said it's not the place that defines your level of piety. It's not the place that defines, and this is well known. I mean, you go to Mecca, you find drug dealers there, you find the most worst of people, but you come to Leicester, you find good people. So it's not the place that defines you. So this is the point here. The point here is that just because he was from Najd, doesn't mean, or just because he's from that area that the Prophet ﷺ, even if we say for argument's sake that he's talking about Najd, we cannot explicitly say that this refers to Sheikh Muhammad, because places don't define the person's level of piety or wickedness. Also, there's another narration that is agreed upon. The Prophet ﷺ said that there will be fitna that will come from Medina, and the fitna will fall in Medina like qatratul ma', like water falling upon you. It will come down quite heavily, and this will happen in Medina. So if we're going to say that these hadith refer to Najd, then what are we going to say about Medina? The point here is we cannot specify. We cannot specify, and we cannot attribute haqq and batil to a particular place. We have to look at the sifat or the attributes of the person. Moving on with the seerah of Sheikh Muhammad, the society at the time of Sheikh Muhammad. Now, like I say, it's very important to understand how society was so that we can get benefits from it, but also so we can see what he had to deal with. And